Good morning everyone, how you doing? It's Paul here from Unusual Things. Now today I'm at St Mary's Magdalene Church in Surrey, and we've come here today to see the final resting place or the grave of Mary Millington. I'll tell you a little bit more about her in a minute. Now of course, don't forget, if you do like the video today, give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, maybe subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. That way you get to find out about when I release more videos. Lovely little place here, look. Not me, the scenery. So we'll get on with it in a minute. Now the reason why I looked into this one was the story intrigued me. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit more about her. And she had a bit of a sad life really towards the end. So if you don't know anything about Mary Millington, I will tell you now. Let's get on with it, shall we? Mary Ruth Maxted, née Quilter, 30th of November 1945 to the 19th of August 1979, known professionally as Mary Millington from 1974 onwards. She was an English model and pornographic actress. Mary Ruth Quilter was born out of wedlock on the 30th of November 1945, brought up by her single mother Joan Quilter in Mid Holmwood near Dorking. Growing up without a father, John William Clean, Mary was bullied at school owing to being illegitimate and suffered from low self-esteem throughout her childhood and throughout her teenage years. She left school at age 15 in 1961, and at the age of 18 in 1964 she married Ruth Maxted, and living in Dorking she had to nurse her terminally ill mother for more than 10 years and began her pornographic career to pay for her mother's care. She had wanted to be a fashion model, but at the height of 4 foot 11 inches she was not tall enough. So instead she became a glamour model in the late 1960s. Soon after becoming a glamour model, she met the glamour photographer and pornographer John Jesnor Lindsay, who offered to photograph her for softcore magazines. She became one of the most popular models and began appearing in 8mm hardcore pornographic film loops, which sold really well in Europe. One of her first films was Miss Bollock in 1970. Miss Bollock won the Golden Phallus Award at the Wet Dream Festival held in November in 1970 in Amsterdam. She then returned to modelling for British pornographic magazines such as Knave and Men Only. She also appeared in softcore short films by Russell Gay. Sex Is My Business was shot late on a Saturday night at a sex shop in London's Coventry Street. Sex Is My Business was considered something of a lost film until Super 8 print was relocated and privately transferred to DVD in 2008. The film subsequently made its internet debut on the 26th of July 2008. In 2010, Sex Is My Business was included as a special feature on the DVD re-release of Come Play With Me. In February 1974, Maureen O'Malley, her co-star in Sex Is My Business, introduced her to adult film magazine publisher David Sullivan. Although she was still married, the pair became lovers. Quilter had used many different stage names and aliases during her pornographic career. Up until 1974, Sullivan rebranded her as Mary Millington. She became well known thanks to her appearance in Sullivan's pornographic magazines such as White House and Private. She soon became the most popular model in any of Sullivan's magazines. In November 1977, magistrates acquitted her and Sullivan following prosecution under the Obscene Publications Act. She had a small part in Sullivan's 1977 softcore sex comedy Come Play With Me alongside Alfie Bass and Irene Handel. Although critically panned, the film was highly successful, running continuously for 4 years at London Cinema. It then became one of the first British films to sell in large numbers on VHS format. This was followed by a larger role in The Playbirds 1978, in which she was cast as a policewoman working undercover as a nude model. Although her lack of acting training was evident, The Playbirds was a commercial success. Like Come Play With Me, it was extensively trailed in Sullivan's magazines. She made many public appearances at this time, promoting her films in regional cinemas, opening shops and restaurants, and raising money for the People's Dispensary for Sick Animals. At the height of her fame, she was also working behind the counter in Sullivan's sex shops, mainly in the White House shop in Norbury. She continued working as a call girl, which she had done since her early modelling days. She then made a cameo appearance in Confessions from the David Galaxy Affair 1979, which was a flop. She then played the title role in Queen of the Blues, 1979. She appeared in other sex movies such as Eskimo Now, 1975, Intimate Games, 1976, and Derek Ford's What's Up Superdoc, 1978. In April 1978, Millington and fellow Come Play With Me actress Susie Mandel took part in a publicity stunt for the anniversary of the opening of the film at the Moulins Cinema, posing in lingerie and in the cinema's marquee. In 1978, Millington was photographed topless outside 10 Downing Street. She was posing for an innocuous picture with a policeman when she decided to unzip her top and expose her breast for the photograph. This surprised the people present, including Susie Mandel, White House photographer George Richardson, who took the picture, and the policeman who tried to confiscate the film. According to Simon Sheridan's biography of Millington, for the stunt, Mary was conditionally discharged and bound over to keep the peace. The filming of Millington's last film appearance took place in the early to mid-1978. She played Mary in the Sex Pistols film The Great Rock and Roll Swindle, directed by Julian Temple, which was released theatrically in March 1980. However, neither she nor her punk rock co-star Sid Vicious lived to see the completion of the movie. Liz Fraser, one of her co-stars in the film, remembered, "I was next to this girl called Mary, and she and I had a great chat together. Then we went into the pub for lunch during the filming of that, and someone said she's a porn star. And I said, I don't understand, what do you mean? And she said, porn, P-O-R-N. And he said, she's naked and she does everything in all these films. But she was lovely, so I then met my first proper porn star. In 1978, she was approached to appear in a hardcore porn film called Love is Beautiful, to have been directed by Gerard D'Amanio. However, despite Millington and D'Amanio being pictured together at that year's Cannes Film Festival, the movie, meant to have been produced by David Grant's Opidin Films, never materialised. That same year, she had turned 33 years old and found herself being replaced by younger models in Sullivan's magazines. Millington had suffered from neurosis and depression, which exacerbated by her cocaine habit. Her mum's death at the age of 62 on the 17th of May 1976, after over 10 years of battling cancer, also affected her deeply, and her behaviour became unpredictable, which led to her breaking up with Sullivan. In March 1978, she ceased to work in Sullivan's White House sex shop in Norbury and opened her own in Tooting, called Mary Millington's International Sex Centre. She began to spend more time working in her own shop, selling illegal material. The shop was raided by the police on numerous occasions, and she claimed the police threatened her and forced her to pay protection money. In the past, she had publicly criticised police raids on sex shops and published the addresses and telephone numbers of Scotland Yard, the Director of Public Prosecutions and Members of Parliament in her magazines. Her life began a downward spiral into drug use and depression following the raids. A few months prior to her death, she had received a large tax bill which she said she was unable to pay. Her kleptomania became more pronounced in the last year of her life, with arrests of shoplifting in June 1979 and again for stealing a necklace the day before her death. Millington died by suicide at age 33 by an overdose of tricyclic antidepressant, anafranil, paracetamol and alcohol at her home in Walton on the Hill, Surrey. Her husband found her dead in bed on the 19th of August 1979. She had left 4 suicide notes which were found near her body. In one of them, she had written, "The police have framed me yet again. They frighten me so much. I can't face the thought of prison. The Nazi taxman has finished me as well." In another note to her solicitor, Michael Kay, partly published in Private Magazine number 59, Millington wrote, "The police have killed me with their threats. The police have made my life a misery with frame-ups. The taxman has hounded me so much I will be made bankrupt. He mustn't get anything of his £200,000 demands. He is a religious maniac." In another note to David Sullivan, she wrote, "Please print in your magazine how much I want porn to be legalised, but the police have beaten me." Millington was a member of the national campaign of the reform of the Obscene Publications Act and encouraged her readers to demand the abolition of the acts. After her death, NCROPA founder David Webb wrote, "Mary was a dear, kind person, and we much admired her courage in standing up to the bigotry and repression which still so pervades the establishment of this country. She obviously had tremendous pressures put on her as a result, and there is no doubt in my mind that they must have contributed towards this tragedy. She was buried at St Mary's Magdalene Church in South Holmwood, Surrey. She is buried in the same grave as her mother, Joan Quilter, who died in 1976. No door there. I did walk past the vicarage a moment ago, so the vicar's probably looking out his window wondering I might say he's probably wondering what the hell I'm up to, because that probably doesn't enter his brain. Wondering what I'm up to. Let's have a look. Here's a door. Locked. Damn. Right, there's another door up here, I think. We can only but try, can't we? Ooh. New church telephone number. Wow. Ooh. We got in. There's a lectern. Wow, what a lovely place. Look at those windows. Well, it's very rarely that we get into churches these days, but it's nice when they are open and you feel welcome to come in and have a look around. Because sometimes, as we know, they're locked up for the right reasons, you know, because of people being around that abuse things. But it's nice to come in and see a lovely little place. It looks welcoming anyway for all the people that come here. There we go. We won't stay too long. It's a noisy door. Anyway, there we go. We finally, after many attempts, got into one. That always intrigues me. Basements in a church. What's looming down there? So that's all the information there on Mary Millington. And to me, she just seemed like a little sort of lost soul. You know, she looked after her mother for all those years, cared for her. So she obviously had a lot of pressure on her. Doubt then, I doubt, you know, people don't have help these days, so what were they going to have back then? So she obviously went into working as a call girl, escort girl, and then obviously into the adult industry. And as usual, when ladies go into that sort of work, you know, the men, the predators that play on their vulnerability. It's wrong, it's wrong, it's always wrong. Anyway, I think I found it. Let's come down here. Oh, let's clean this up a bit. Okay, so Joan Quilter, it's her mum, died 17th of May 1976. Yeah, looks like it. Darling mother of Mary. Also, daughter Mary Maxted, died August 19th, 1979, reunited. Now, I wanted to bring you this story today because Mary stood up against a system that tried to push her down, but in a way she was sort of forced into that system as well. So I want to say, bless you, Mary, and I hope you're at peace now, because it seems like she had a very, it seems like she had a very troubled life, doesn't it? Looking after her mum from a young age, which then forced her to go into escort work, to pay to help, wanting to be a model, but obviously being too short, so then going into the adult industry, into the glamour model industry, to sort of fulfill her dreams, I suppose, and also maybe give her some self-esteem, because we don't know, do we? You know, if there's so much pressure these days on girls, and they want to go into modelling because they see all the photos and all the rest of it on different social media. So back in those days, you know, the pressures would have been there, but they would have seen each other in magazines and things like that. I just wanted to tell her story. You know, it's slightly different from the norm, but all these visits are not purposely just for celebrities or anything like that at all. They're for telling different people's stories and you know, things that might be of interest to the public, or something that we don't know about or we've never heard about before. So I just wanted to bring that one to light, really, because I sort of read it and it touched me and I thought, felt sorry for her. Anyway, don't forget to leave your comments down below, and if you've watched any of her films, don't get yourself in trouble by admitting it, and and I will see you all on the next one. Take it easy.